Low, 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 low. How about a little bit of man? Now what? Shaking. This is Matty Crypto. If you have been involved in Hex, Richard Hart, projects like this, Pulse Chain coming up, you have to understand that this is kind of urgent, honestly. This video is taking place on Christmas Eve. Tomorrow is Christmas. Happy Christmas to everybody who celebrates Christmas, and stay close to your friends and family because this is a pretty special year. This 2021 has been, my God, it's been like the fastest year of my life. I'm like 22 years old, and I feel like every year is a little bit faster. So, why do I think this video is urgent? Because Richard Hart himself said probably, most likely, by the end of this year, which is only about a week away, PulseX is going to go live. And when I say go live, it means you're going to be able to sacrifice certain cryptos and get possibly um, PulseX, the actual native token for the decentralized exchange. So I want you to know about this before it goes live. Anything that involves Hex and Pulse Chain, I think is going to be incredible. I think at the very, very least, it's something that you should be looking into and at least do your research. Okay. So what exactly is PulseX? This is the PulseSwap. And if you go to easyhex.xyz, you're going to see this right here. So general. If you go to the FAQ section, you're going to see what is PulseSwap. So I use those interchangeably, PulseSwap and PulseX. It's a decentralized exchange. It's going to be the decentralized exchange on pulsechain.com when it launches. And I like to describe this as there are going to be other Pulse um, decentralized exchanges on Pulse Chain, and a lot of this stuff can get a little bit confusing when you talk about Hex and Pulse Chain and Pulse X and decentralized exchanges and other projects coming onto Pulse Chain. And Pulse X, the exchange, is going to have its token, and PulseChain.com is going to have its token, and there's going to be a Hex on Pulse Chain and a Hex on Ethereum. So I don't want to get too far in the weeds, but when there is a decentralized exchange coming out, and that's going to be the main exchange where we basically exchange our tokens. So if you got Hex on Pulse Chain, you want to change that for a certain token, this is where you're going to go. There are going to be other exchanges that try to get onto Pulse Chain, but this is going to be the one that we all know as the motherlode. It's going to be PulseX. Now, I'll say that I actually prefer the word pulse swap because I think people are familiar with that. And it's synonymous with these decentralized exchanges like Pancake and Uniswap. So I think Richard, even though now he has the rights to PulseSwap.com, this was given by Moonwhale, a really great hexagon. And hats off to you, brother, for actually going out and procuring this PulseSwap.com website. So if Richard did want to use PulseSwap as opposed to PulseX, he could have, and he can now. I think he's alluded to that he still wants to use PulseX.com, even though he has the rights to PulseSwap. I'm sure whatever one he does end up using when it goes live, he's going to just train all of those .com or .info names, .io, probably a bunch of them. He's just going to redirect that to the actual true PulseSwap or PulseX, whatever one he decides to. But let me shut my pile hole about that for a second, but go to easyhex.xyz. You can see this information right here. So what exactly is PulseSwap? And I mentioned that it's a decentralized exchange, and that's exactly what it's going to be. It's just going to be a Pulse Chain exchange. And who will PulseX? When will PulseX be released? There's no fixed ETA. The sacrifice phase should start before the end of this year, 2021. How many PLSX PulseX tokens will there be? And I'm not sure if this is true, but it says the supply of PLSX will be determined by the total USD value that will be sacrificed. So when we say sacrifice, I'm going to go into that in just a second. I'm going to switch tabs and actually explain that. It's very similar to the bonding curve that we used on Pulse Chain, the actual Pulse Chain sacrifice. When that went live, it was about 19 days that you could sacrifice certain amount of crypto as a political statement, and in return, you might probably get some Pulse tokens, a native token that's going to be used on Pulse Chain. What will it be worth? We don't know. It's going to start off worth 0, and that's for tax purposes. You want that to happen. Can you see the code? Soon. Will you be able to stake PLSX? It says yes, but without the time locks that Hex has. Will I be able to store my PLSX in MetaMask? Yes. And when you go to MetaMask, most people have MetaMask. It's the most popular extension, like in Chrome, if you use that. When you click on MetaMask, the little Fox there, you basically default to the Ethereum blockchain. But when you click on the Ethereum, you'll be able to change over to the Pulse chain. It'll be there when it goes live. So it's really, really easy using MetaMask. I still have questions. Where can I talk about PulseX? There's going to be a Telegram chat. It's already up right now. And there's going to already be a Twitter. I'm going to link both of those, the Telegram and the Twitter, in this video. Let's jump over to, if you just click on Pulse, it just takes you right to where the main page is on this. It says sacrifice phase starting soon. The code for PulseX is already done. All that is left before launch is a sacrifice phase to distribute the PRC20 token, PulseX, which should be around Christmas. Now, when it says distribute the PRC20 token, it is a PRC20 token. It's just like an ERC20 on Ethereum. And again, I hate to be confusing. A lot of these terms, we all understand that, being in Hex for a long time, but some people may be looking at this video just trying to understand what is PulseX. So when I say PRC20 token, it's just tokens that are going to be on the Pulsechain chain. And when you see ERC20 tokens, it's just all the tokens that are on the actual Ethereum blockchain. So don't let that confuse you. Also, when you've got a MetaMask, if you do this sacrifice, which is with the sacrifice of PulseX when it goes live in the next few days, if you do that and you say you sacrifice Bitcoin or Ethereum or Chainlink or whatever, make sure you keep alive that MetaMask wallet that you use to make that sacrifice, because you're going to get those, hopefully get those PulseX tokens. Make sure you keep that. And the reason I say that is because in the future, if there's an airdrop on the Pulse network, you're going to get airdrops to that original MetaMask wallet that you use to get these PulseX tokens that you made the sacrifice on. That is basically a Genesis address on MetaMask on the Pulsechain blockchain. Whew, I'm confusing myself, and I've been around this since day one. PulseX is Pulsechain's DEX. It's a decentralized exchange, like I was saying. The yield farm, dude, don't sleep on this yield farm stuff, because basically yield farming is basically sort of like a liquidity provider. If you look at it like that, if you have a PRC20 token, say Ethereum, and when Pulsechain goes live, you're going to automatically get that other pair on Pulsechain. So now you get both of these pairs to be a liquidity provider. Again, I don't want to go too far in the weeds on liquidity providers. You can look that up and find out, but never before this has been done. Nobody's ever had the entire system state of Ethereum or any other blockchain copied over to another blockchain coming out. It's going to be faster, better, more secure. It's crazy. The fees are going to be almost free. So when you take that entire system state and you move it over, and you got your ERC20 tokens pulled over, and now you've got those same tokens on the Pulsechain side. Now you've got one pair, that liquidity provider. So it makes it really easy. And down here it said, what is the PulseX goal? It's basically to have their own UnitSwap fork. And lastly, I wanted to go over to the sacrifice just to touch on that too. So it says, by sacrificing your crypto, you do not buy the PulseX. You can give your crypto away, basically sacrifice it, as a political statement. Once you've done that, you do not own those crypto anymore. Never expect profit from the work of others. That's really actually goes without saying, especially with Richard Hart things. If you go over to Uniswap right here, this is uniswap.org or app.uniswap.org. This is going to be basically the interface that we're going to have on PulseX or the PulseSwap here. So let's say this is what it looks like, and you have Ethereum. This is just a representation of Hex here. One Ethereum is currently just over $4,000, and you would get almost 14,000 Hex, which is around 30 cents per. Really, really easy. You connect your MetaMask wallet, make sure that you're on the Pulsechain Network, and you'll be able to swap really, really inexpensively for probably fractions of a penny or pennies. It's going to be much better than the other swaps. So I think the actual PulseX swap is a fork of Uniswap and a fork of Pulsechain. I'm sorry, Pancake Swap. So it's a fork of a fork. And before I leave, I want to touch on this too. This is not even 24 hours old. Richard Hart tweeted, what do you think about this PulseX plan so far? What are your thoughts? Lower fees, no inflation, fees that cause the PulseX price to go up and the supply to go down. No admin keys, no middleman. I want to invite you guys to read this. He goes over about 4 of these little slides that show you how the fee burning mechanism of PulseX. This is incredible. So I'll read just a little bit of this. Users can swap one coin for another coin on PulseX, and you pay basically a 0.3% fee. And 21% of that fee buys PulseX coins from the PulseX system itself and burns those coins. 76% of those fees go to LP providers, and 3% of that fee goes to an address you have no expectations of. It's great. So zip through this. It explains a little bit more in detail about what PulseX is going to do, and just some details about it. So it's really important. Some of the problems that it solves. And then in the future, you're going to have a bunch of these info sites. But the reason I made this video today is because PulseX is going to be coming live either today, tomorrow, nobody knows, but it's probably going to be by the end of the year. So if you don't understand what PulseX is or these decentralized exchanges, do your research now, because you're going to have a chance to sacrifice your cryptos and possibly get a lot of PulseX tokens, the native token on the decentralized exchange. Don't get that confused with the native token on Pulsechain, PLS. Again, it's confusing. Take your time, learn about it now. I want you to understand these things now before the decentralized exchange goes live, before the sacrifice phase, and then in January or February, Pulsechain.com, the actual blockchain of Pulse, is going to go live. So learn about these things right now. Get in the Telegram group, get on Twitter, ask people about it. As always, I care about you. Have a fantastic day, and I'll catch y'all on that B side.